The book that everyone has heard of, but few have truly understood of Human Bondage. Semi-autobiographical masterpiece by W. Somerset Maugham. Why does it make countless readers see their own reflections in Philip's suffering and find a faint glimmer of release through their tears? It is not merely a coming-of-age story, but the most naked interrogation of human nature. What exactly binds us in chains, and how can we break free? Let us step into the life of Philip Cary and explore those seemingly unbreakable shackles, how they gradually loosen until they transform into nourishment for life. Chapter 1: Shadows of Childhood and the First Chains. Philip Cary was born into a seemingly respectable middle-class family in London. His father, a gentle doctor, his mother, Helen, tender and beautiful. The home always filled with the faint scent of medicine and fresh flowers. But fate struck like merciless scissors when he was 5. His mother died of puerperal fever after giving birth to her last child. Philip still remembers her pale hands gently stroking his hair as she whispered with faint but firm voice, "Be good, Mommy loves you." That was the last time he felt pure warmth. At 9, his father also passed from lung disease, leaving Philip alone and orphaned amid a pile of debts. He was sent to live with his uncle and aunt in the town of Blackstable, Kent. His uncle, William Cary, was the local vicar, tall and thin, always in black clerical robes, his face etched with rigid piety. He prayed twice daily, morning and evening, in a low, monotonous voice, as if bargaining with God. His Aunt Louisa was kind-hearted, but timid, always deferring to her husband, never daring to speak against him. Soon after arriving, Philip was taken by his uncle to the churchyard, pointing to his parents' graves. "They have ascended to heaven. You must serve God well to reunite with them." But gazing at those cold tombstones, Philip only felt a tightness in his chest. Even more cruel was his clubfoot. Born with a deformed right foot, he limped when he walked like a wounded little bird. This became the greatest shame of his childhood. His uncle took him to London to see the best doctors. The doctors shook their heads, incurable. Only special boots could somewhat correct it. His uncle sighed, "This is God's will. We must learn to accept it." But Philip rebelled inwardly. Why did God choose me? At the local school, classmates soon noticed his disability. On the playground, during breaks, some mimicked his walk, exaggeratingly twisting, drawing loud laughter. Others deliberately tossed his bag at his feet, watching him bend down, lose balance, and fall, then clapping and cheering. At first Philip blushed and argued. Later he grew silent. He learned to hide in classroom corners, head buried in books, building an invisible wall with pages. After school, he often sat alone on a church bench, watching sunset dye the stained glass windows blood red, asking himself over and over, "What did I do wrong? Why this punishment?" The inferiority from his disability seeped like slow poison into his bone. He began hating mirrors, hating accidental glances from others. He even fantasized how wonderful it would be to run and jump like everyone else. But reality reminded him again and again, impossible. In his diary, "I am like a man nailed to the cross, only able to watch others come and go freely." This self-loathing went beyond the physical, permeating every tiny action. He always lowered his head when walking to avoid eye contact, pulled his chair to the table's edge at meals fearing others notice his awkward leg lift. In church he stood in the very back row, never wanting to be seen from the front. His world seemed separated by an invisible glass. While others laughed freely outside, he could only watch through the glass. Once during a town fair, children chased balloons shouting with joy. Philip stood at the crowd's edge watching a boy his age dash lightly across the grass as if wings grew from his feet. Suddenly he felt suffocating jealousy. It wasn't hatred of others, but hatred of himself for lacking that same lightness. He ran home, hid in the attic, pounding his deformed foot until blood seeped through the boot. Crying, he asked himself, "Why did God make others whole but make me flawed?" At that moment he first deeply doubted the word fairness. This doubt led him to secretly read forbidden books. In his uncle's study he found an old copy of Asterisk on the Origin of Species, asterisk reading Darwin's Natural Selection when his uncle was away. Suddenly he understood. His disability might not be God's punishment, but pure chance. The universe has no purpose, no mercy, only blind forces at work. The thought both terrified and exhilarated him. Terrified because he lost his last refuge, exhilarated because for the first time he no longer blamed everything on God but began taking responsibility himself. This inferiority made him more sensitive and more lonely than his peers. He learned to observe who mocked him behind his back, who pitied him. He buried these feelings deep like a seed in his heart, waiting to sprout one day. Life at his uncle's was monotonous and oppressive. After dinner every evening, his uncle read the Bible aloud, Philip forced to sit and listen. His uncle loved the book of Job, repeating how Job still trusted God amid suffering. But Philip sneered inwardly. If God is truly merciful, why not end Job's pain sooner? Religion meant to be a refuge became another chain. It demanded submission, gratitude, viewing pain as a test. The more Philip listened, the more absurd it felt. He began secretly questioning, does God really exist? If so, why ignore a child's prayers? These childhood experiences like keys opened the door to deep questions in Philip's heart. He did not become a cynical rebel, but turned pain into quiet observation. He noticed his aunt's occasional weary eyes, the servants' grievances, unscolded by his uncle, the town's outwardly pious but inwardly greedy people. He realized human nature is far more complex than the Bible. This early insight was both burden and shield for facing the world later. Chapter 2: Disillusionment with Religion and the First Awakening to Freedom. At 13, Philip was sent to a boarding school in Canterbury. It was an ancient school, red brick buildings covered in ivy, the chapel bell ringing punctually each day like a death knell, reminding students of God's presence. The headmaster, Dr. Watson, was tall and imposing, his sermons booming as if reaching heaven. Philip was once awed by the solemnity. He even imagined if he were pious enough, God might take pity and heal his clubfoot. He rose early to pray, kneeling on cold floors, hands clasped, eyes closed, silently repeating, "Lord, please heal my foot. I will serve you all my life." He made vows. No more sweets, no more laziness, no more resenting classmates. But 1 month, 2 months passed, his foot remained the same, the limp still making a soft tap with each step. Classmates still called him Clubfoot behind his back. Prayers were like stones thrown into an abyss, no echo. During one Sunday sermon, Dr. Watson spoke of faith's power. If you trust the Lord with all your heart, he will surely bless you. Philip suddenly felt a chill up his spine. Looking up at the ruddy-faced man on the pulpit, he realized these words were just lies adults wove to comfort the weak, to soothe fear. Religion promised fairness in the afterlife but could not change injustice here. It asked believers to hand pain to God while doing nothing themselves. Disillusionment came swift and complete. That night Philip threw his prayer book into the fireplace, watching flames devour the gilt-edged scriptures for the first time, feeling a strange lightness. The heavy stone in his chest cracked, a breath of air flowed in. No wild joy, no rage, only calm emptiness. He understood. Life has no preset script, no God pulling strings, no eternal judgment. This awakening was a double-edged sword. It lifted a long spiritual burden, but plunged him into unprecedented confusion. No God, no ultimate meaning, no afterlife, only this one life to face. He began losing sleep, lying on his narrow dorm bed, staring at ceiling cracks, repeatedly thinking, if nothing has meaning, why go on living? He tried new faiths. First, Schopenhauer's pessimism, making him feel life is hopeless, struggle relief only through asceticism and aesthetic contemplation. But he found it too cold, not matching the lingering passion in his heart. Then Nietzsche, God is dead, we must become gods ourselves. The words set his blood boiling. He thought, perhaps I can overcome disability, overcome all limits through sheer will. But soon he calmed. Willpower cannot straighten his foot nor erase childhood scars. Ultimately, he chose a simpler stance. Believe no grand narratives, only the reality before your eyes. He began cherishing tiny joys in each moment, sunlight, warming book pages, the bitter taste of hot tea, a classmate's occasional kind glance. These small things became anchors against nothingness. In his diary he wrote, "Meaning is not given, it is created. My foot is flawed, but my life need not be. All meaning must be created by oneself." This awakening completely freed him from religion's chains. He stopped morning prayers, stopped reciting scripture, even when his uncle urged him to consider the clergy. He calmly refused in a letter. His uncle raged, calling him ungrateful, but Philip no longer cared. He read philosophy. Schopenhauer's pessimism resonated. Life is a cycle of suffering. The only thing to do is reduce desire. But he did not fully agree. He felt pain is inevitable, but people can choose how to face it. The price of this freedom was loneliness. Classmates found him odd, teachers thought him rebellious. He learned to shield himself with cool detachment, yet at night asked himself, having shed God, what do I believe in next? The answer, believe in nothing, just live honestly. That sentence became his baseline for facing everything later. Chapter 3: The Artistic Dream in Paris and the Shattering of Ideals. At 18, Philip made his first major life decision, rejecting his uncle's plan for Oxford Theological College to pursue painting instead. He sold his mother's few remaining jewels scraped together and went alone to Paris. Paris then was an artist's paradise. Young people argued endlessly in cafes along the Saint Studios in Montparnasse, layered paint on canvas like burning flames. He entered a lesser-known art academy painting from dawn to dusk. Nude models glowed softly, and sunlight he tried capturing that fleeting beauty. He met Cronshaw, a 40-something failed painter, heir disheveled clothes, paint-stained yet carrying transcendent wisdom. Cronshaw puffed cheap tobacco and told him, "Art is no salvation, life has no salvation. Life is a blank sheet, what you smear on it becomes what it is. No God, no eternal truth, only yourself." Philip was struck. He painted harder street beggars, caff prostitutes, rainy Paris rooftops. He thought with enough effort he could become another Monet or Cézanne. But teachers shook their heads. His colors lacked boldness, lines lacked strength. In the cruelest critique, a teacher said bluntly, "You have passion but no talent. Continuing will only waste time." 2 years passed. Philip stood before a mirror, seeing his gaunt face and tired eyes. He sold his painting tools, bought a ticket back to London. On the train, watching fields rush by, he suddenly smiled. Not bitter but relieved. He finally understood. Passion is not a universal key, sometimes just another chain. Before leaving Paris, he stood by the Seine one last time, watching sunset gild the water. He recalled Cronshaw's parting words, "Young man, don't make art your savior. It's only part of life, not the whole." He hadn't understood then, but now he did. Art gave brief frenzy, but cost to precious years. Selling his tools brought no great regret, only light release. He could stop pretending to be an artist, stop numbing fear of disability with dreams. On the train back to London, he leaned against the window, watching England's green countryside flash past. He thought, perhaps the hardest thing in life is not failure, but continuing after admitting it. He decided to study medicine, not from love of it, but because it was solid, could support him, give him a place in society. This was not surrender, but another form of courage, accepting he was no genius, accepting life's compromises. It makes one overlook limits, clutch dreams like lifelines, forgetting straws eventually break. Back in London, he chose medicine. At least doctors had steady income, could live. This was not compromise, but courage, admitting ordinariness, accepting reality's boundaries. From Paris, he brought back not paintings, but sober awareness of ideals. He began understanding true freedom is not chasing unreachable stars, but learning to root in the soul. Chapter 4: The Abyss of Desire and Mildred's Curse. Life at St. Luke's Hospital Medical School was monotonous and busy. In anatomy, the smell of formalin stung. In wards, patients groaned endlessly. Philip gradually adapted to the rhythm and to loneliness. But fate toyed with him again. In a small tea shop, he met Mildred Rogers. She was a waitress in her early 20s, thin, pale lips garishly rouged. She spoke with an East End accent, manners coarse yet strangely attractive. The first time Philip saw her, his heart raced. He began going to the tea shop daily just to see her more. He wrote letters, sent flowers, invited her to theater. He was cold at first, then slowly accepted his attentions, but never gave her heart. Philip knew she was snobbish, vain, and grateful, yet could not escape. She mocked his limp, said he waddled like a duck, spent his money on clothes, never thanked, even flirted with other men in front of him. Yet Philip forgave her again and again. He rented rooms for her, paid her bills, even accompanied her for an abortion when pregnant. He felt possessed by a demon, knowing the pit of fire, yet leaping in anyway. His friend Hayward urged, "She doesn't love you, why torture yourself?" Philip smiled bitterly. "I don't know, I only know leaving her would hurt more." This pain was chronic illness, eroding his will. He lost sleep by night, dazed by day, slipped even holding the scalpel unsteady, until Mildred fell completely contracting, consumption, dying in a pauper's hospital. He saw her one last time. Then she was no longer proud, just a skeletal body and hollow eyes. Philip sat by her bed, watching her labored breathing, suddenly felt release. He finally understood. His obsession with Mildred was not love, but hunger for being loved. That hunger stemmed from childhood, loss from inferiority, of disability. He recalled neglected details. After his mother died, he dreamed countless times she returned to hold him, but woke to empty rooms. At his father's deathbed, he held his cold hand, dared not cry, fearing his uncle's scold weakness. These lacks formed a huge black hole, devouring his normal sense of love. He projected longing for mother, for father onto Mildred. The colder she was, the more he wanted to prove himself worthy. The more she hurt, the more he wanted to trade giving for a bit of recognition. A psychologist might call it classic repetition compulsion, reenacting childhood trauma, hoping for different ending this time. But Philip had no psychologist, only himself. In the cycle of Mildred leaving and returning, he gradually saw he loved not her, but the illusion of being needed she represented. He needed her dependence, her demands, so he could feel valuable. This sick need was deeper, harder to quit than any physical desire. After Mildred's death, he did not immediately heal, but took long to digest the shame. He began understanding. True self-respect comes not from others' approval, but from facing your own weakness calmly. He viewed his feelings for Mildred as life's costliest lesson. It cost health, money, dignity, yet first truly matured him. He treated her as salvation, forgetting salvation never lies in others. This affair was the book's darkest chapter, yet truest portrait of humanity. We are often enslaved by the least deserving because that craving is stronger than reason. Chapter 5: The Baptism of Lower Life and the Warmth of Humanity. Late in medical school, Philip fell into dire poverty. He lost his last inheritance, pawned winter clothes, slept on park benches. Bitter wind, pierced hunger twisted his stomach like knives. For the first time, he tasted the helplessness of the poor. Dock workers bent under cargo sweat mixing with coal dust. Little match-selling girls' lips purple from coal. Hospital tramps wrapped in old newspapers for warmth. During hospital internship, he witnessed more birth, aging, sickness, death. An old tailor advanced, tuberculosis, coughing blood daily, yet insisted on altering clothes. "If I die, what about my grandchildren?" A young mother after stillbirth hell, empty swaddling all night crying. A middle-aged man's stomach cancer spread before death held Philip's hand. Doctor, I'm not afraid to die, I'm afraid my wife will have no one. These moments hammered Philip's heart. He began understanding pain is not his alone, everyone carries their own cross. The warmest comfort came from the Athelney family. Thorpe Athelney was a minor clerk. His wife had 10 children, poor, but never complaining. Athelney was warm and hospitable, fond of quoting French poets, taking the family picnicking in the country on weekends. First country visit, Philip lay on grass hearing children play, watching Athelney and wife walk hand in hand. Suddenly tears welled. It was long-lost belonging, not grand love, but daily companionship and acceptance. Athelney taught him, life is like soup, salty or bland, the key is how you season it. Philip slowly learned seasoning. He began helping others, tutoring poor students, telling stories to patients. He found shifting attention from self to others slowly filled his inner void. Poverty did not break him but toughened him. He understood dignity comes not from wealth but from how you handle your situation. Chapter 6. Sally's appearance and final reconciliation. Nearing 30, Philip's life finally showed dawn. At the Athelney home he met Sally again, Athelney's eldest daughter. She was 18, healthy, suntan skin, bright, honest eyes. Unlike Mildred's affectation or Paris model's allure, she simply existed like a sturdy oak. At first, Philip kept distance. He feared repeating mistakes, feared obsession again. But Sally was different. She never asked him to change, never minded his clubfoot. While helping her mother wash dishes, she quietly handed him hot tea. On weekend picnics, she sat beside him, quietly listening. Her presence was like spring breeze, silent yet lasting. Once Philip, ill in bed, Sally brought hot porridge, feeding him spoonful by spoonful. That moment he suddenly understood. Love is not possession nor salvation, but to people walking side by side through ordinary days. He gathered courage, proposed. She blushed and nodded. I will, as long as you don't mind my clumsiness. Philip laughed, tears falling too. His uncle died, leaving modest inheritance. Philip used it to buy a small clinic in the countryside. He became a country doctor, biking daily, bandaging farmers, wounds treating children's colds, measuring elders' blood pressure. Sally managed the home, soon pregnant. Life simple, near monotonous, yet full of solid happiness. Philip sat by the clinic window, watching distant wheat fields, recalling his life. Childhood, disability, religious disillusionment, Paris dreams, Mildred's torment, poverty's agony. These chains once suffocated him, yet led him step by step to maturity. He finally grasped, life has no perfect end and no absolute freedom. Happiness hides in the calm after, accepting flaws in the faint light of ordinary days. Epilogue. Freedom after breaking the chains. Philip's life mirrors most of us, kidnapped by inferiority, deceived by illusions, enslaved by desire, tormented by poverty. Yet he was not utterly crushed. He traded each pain for a little wisdom. Disability taught humility, religion's collapse forced facing boy Mildred, obsession clarified love's essence, poverty and friendship taught human warmth. Mom gave Philip no heroic ending. He simply let him become ordinary, small family ordinary job peaceful mind. This is the truest release. True freedom is not erasing all chains, but learning to live with them, letting light through the links. When Philip returned home at night, seeing Sally sewing children's clothes under the lamp, hearing the babies even breathing, he would smile gently. In that moment he was no longer slave. He was free, not because he escaped everything, but because he finally understood life's meaning is not far away, but in this ordinary instant. Book's meaning for ordinary people lies in its honesty. It promises no miracle, sells no chicken soup, yet with rawest strokes tells us, in life's mud keep walking, though hard, one day you reach your own peace. That is not end point, but another beginning, a quieter, truer, more enduring beginning. Years later, someone asked Philip if he could live again, would he choose different path? No disability, no lost parents, no Mildred. He thought long, shook his head. No, because every scar is proof of how I became who I am today. He became no great man, no history maker, no earth-shaking achievement. He was just a country doctor facing everyday ailments and ordinary human fires. Yet precisely this ordinariness let him taste life's resilience. He saw many collapse in suffering, many birth light in despair. He knew happiness is never a given reward, but byproduct of countless rises after falls. When Maugham wrote this at over 50, he poured his own disability, emotional tangles, disillusionment, and reconciliation unreservedly into Philip. He neither beautified suffering nor demonized humanity. He simply recorded honestly. People we could lose way enslaved by desire, but can also find strength to climb from deepest mire. For us today, this book is a mirror without filter. It reminds, don't expect environment or others to save you. Don't make passion life's all. Don't romanticize pain, yet don't flee it. True release often comes when you stop fighting fate and start negotiating with it. Philip's story ends, but the effort to find cracks and chains let light in never ends. It belongs to everyone who loses sleep at night, who loathes self and mirror, who hurts in love yet still chooses to live. When you close the book, your chest may feel faintly warm. That is not sadness, but quiet resonance. I am not fighting alone. Those chains can perhaps become wings.